Our next guest is writing about this in an op-ed for the Washington Post. Hugh Hewitt's piece, What Senate Republicans Need to Do Right Now. He writes, don't blow it, Republicans. I'm joined now by MSNBC political analyst Hugh Hewitt, host of the Hugh Hewitt Show on Salem Radio Network. Back with me, Reuters' Ayesha Rascoe and Politico's Michael Crowley. Okay, Hugh, you've outlined what Mitch McConnell and the Republicans need to do to get the bill across the finish line. Tell us about step one, stay on message.
Yeah, step one is don't step on the victory yesterday. Compliment the people in the House for getting a bill over to the Senate. The Constitution anticipates that the Senate's going to disagree with the House and they'll have to have a conference. So don't go after the House bill. Get to work quietly on whether or not you're going to go big or go small. They can go big with a big deal with Chuck Schumer if that's possible, or they can go small and stay within the boundaries of reconciliation. But they need to also emphasize, in Maryland, the largest insurer in the individual plan, Care First, just filed for a 52% rate increase. Aetna pulled out of Virginia. Iowa's largest individual market plan insurer is thinking about leaving completely. Obamacare is falling apart, so the Senate has to do something. What they have to not do is go on Twitter and trash each other while they get a plan together.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. We've already heard them complaining about the House side, and Rand Paul talked about it as well. Take a listen.
I think that the House Freedom Caucus made it a lot less bad is one of the nicest things I can think to say. The insurance company gets to socialize their losses and privatize their gains. And so those are things that I still don't like about the product, but I'm hopeful that we can make it better in the Senate.
So hopeful we can make it better in the Senate. Did essentially what we saw here yesterday, even with the victory lap in the Rose Garden, was a punt?
Oh, no, not a punt. It's a necessary, and I think everyone has to realize, the Constitution anticipates a bill starting in the House, going to a very different chamber, a 100-person chamber where there are only 52 Republicans, but 25 Democrats facing re-election, only 8 Senate Republicans facing re-election, only one of them in any way in a real race, Dean Heller in Nevada, because Jeff Flake lost his only opponent on the Democratic side yesterday when Kyrsten Sinema dropped out. And so it goes over, it gets changed, and then they have a conference committee, and they will come out with either a big fix many things bill or a very narrow bill. But Mitch McConnell may be the most able Republican leader in 25 years, as demonstrated by the Neil Gorsuch confirmation. I am very optimistic that we get to something by the end of the year.
But we know he's not going to go nuclear to do it. And you say, as part of these health care discussions, Hugh, Republicans should try to get some concessions on the sequester, judicial nominations, tax reform, all as part of this deal-making. So you want to take something already incredibly complicated and fold in those hot-button issues as well?
Yes, I think a grand bargain is the only opportunity to do it is if you want Chuck Schumer to come to the table and bring Democrats.
What Donald Trump voters hate? Isn't that why they voted him and many Republicans into office? Because everything kind of gets conflated. Just make health care better and vote on it.
No, I have to dissent from that, Chris. I think they voted countryside versus Capitol, to borrow from Michael Barone. They voted against Washington, D.C. But if Donald Trump can get everyone together to fix the defense sequestration, to save Obamacare from falling apart, to devolve Medicaid, to reform the tax code, to go after corruption, and also regularize immigration, you notice that Donald Trump hasn't repealed DACA, to get the wall built or the fence built, whatever you want to call it, they would applaud enthusiastically. So I think that Manhattan Beltway media elite echo chamber is missing the bigger message here. It wasn't about not getting things done. It's about getting them done, whether one at a time or all at a time. It doesn't matter. Just get things done.
Is he right about that?
Well, maybe. I mean, I think as far as health care goes, it's not an echo. The echo chamber way of looking at it is Mitch McConnell's up, Paul Ryan's up, who's down, Chuck Schumer. How is this going to affect voters? How much more are they going to be paying for health insurance? There are going to be a lot of losers in this bill. You have to shift the benefits and the costs. You're going to create a lot of losers. And I think a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump, we're seeing a lot of anecdotal evidence of this already in the reporting, are going to be surprised that what replaces Obamacare is not some silver bullet that solves all their problems and makes everything okay. In fact, may raise costs on a lot of these people, may make their lives more difficult. And that's going to be the real test of this.
In the last 15 seconds, if anybody, though, can get this done, is it Mitch McConnell?
I mean, he's proved to be impressive, like you said, with the Gorsuch nomination, getting that through. So, I mean, and he's been in the Senate a long time, so he knows what he's doing. But this is going to be a very tough lift.
I'd argue there are people who have been in the Senate for a long time and in the House for a long time who maybe don't necessarily, just by virtue of their years. I'm not going to finish this sentence. It's a Friday. Let's all be very positive. Hugh Hewitt, thank you. Always good to see you, my friend. Aisha.